introduce
Me.
Will from Aspen, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself and what they do and how they fit in this operation.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Leilani. So it is a neat model in terms of growing local resources and investing. Aspen is a company that's actually headquartered in a very small town in Denver, Colorado. And we've done something unique from the standpoint of investing in our local community by partnering with the local college, Mesa College, to recruit interns prior to offering them jobs when they come out of school. So we primarily target computer science majors, developers, so Python and Java and C, etc. We put them in a program, either a year or 2 years, and they join and they help and they build inside of our Amazon environments. They build and they shadow with us on customers. And then when they graduate school, we give them jobs. And then they've kind of got a career path in terms of the different tiers that they can accelerate through and graduate. So we're here to talk to you a little bit about some of the technology. So today you're going to learn about Amazon Connect. The cool thing is every single person in this room is a contact center expert, whether you know it or not. The reason being is you've all been on the other end of the line. So you've talked to the machine, you've been stuck on hold, you've had to wait, etc. And so when you start to think about your organization and how do you build out your actual customer experience environment, right? Where's a model of success, right? Where would you look and say, hey, that's a good customer experience? Amazon, lo and behold, has an amazing customer experience, right? A lot of different ways you can engage and get help. There's a lot of AI invested into it. Amazon's own journey, and I'm not going to take Randy's thunder here, but Amazon made their own contact center environment, their own entire customer experience flow. Now that is available for your organizations to take advantage of as well and start building Amazon-like customer experiences. So I'm not going to kill you with slides. This is what to expect over the next 2 hours or so. We're going to bring in lunch, but I'm going to jump in right into an art of the possible demo, and we're just going to start experiencing the technology, what it might be like. And what I want you to think about is all of the different little repetitive actions that your agents must take, or agents having to find information, or a client having to be on hold and burning phone minutes, etc. All of those lead to a decreased customer satisfaction score. But the agent is also a human, a part of this as well. So how do we empower an agent so that, one, they are happy and they feel empowered to help somebody? Two, they have the ability to feel good about their job and not change jobs, because agent turnover is a problem in the contact center business. And so prior to this, I led sales for Amazon at an organization called Concentrix with over 275,000 contact center agents. And so can tell you a lot about the agents moving from one business to the other. And then we're going to talk officially about what is Amazon Connect. Randy's going to take you through that at a high level. We're going to show you how you can actually get started today. It's actually as easy as in 5 minutes, believe it or not. And then we're going to hear from Pacific Central Bank that's around their customer success story deploying Amazon Connect and where their journey's headed. And then, of course, we're going to leave some time for some Q&A. So feel free to make this interactive. My only technical consideration here is that somehow I have not figured out how to make the speakerphone on my phone as loud as it possibly could be. So we'll just have to be a little bit quiet as I walk you through some of these demos.
Oh, I forgot, Will. The interactive, we encourage questions, so that's why you have the Post-it notes there in front of you. So if you have questions, please feel free to jot them down, and there is a motivational factor to this. I think that the person that asked the most questions, or the best questions, we haven't figured it out yet, but there is an incentive here. You end up getting an EWS gift card.
Gift cards, yes.
So don't be shy. If you have questions, please write them down. We'll have a good Q&A session later on. So forgot to mention that earlier.
So it's pretty fun working inside of AWS. How many of you know if your company runs, or you personally run, AWS workloads today? Okay, about half the room, okay. So in short, Amazon has made its own environment, its own cloud technology available for others to use. In fact, Amazon probably runs just about 50% of all cloud workloads today. So everything you do on your mobile phone, every application you touch, every streaming video, etc., probably touches Amazon's cloud in some way, shape, or form. And so it's ideal to be able to take advantage of all the different products and services. It is a Lego block building environment, so you make of it what you may. Some solutions are packaged together. We're going to show you Amazon Connect. And then others, you pull in and you can kind of create your own journey or your own story. There are over 200 different products or services that AWS offers. Everything from the ability to communicate with something in the sky like a satellite, all the way down to Amazon Alexa in your house. But how would you apply that to your business? So one of the services is called Amazon Connect, and this is the contact center solution. What you're looking at here is what an agent might look at in terms of logging in. And you've got things like a dashboard, you've got real-time analytics, you've got contact flows, and this is where you engage an integrator like Aspen in order to help you along your journey in this case. But it is something you can learn, it's something you can deploy on your own. There are a lot of different resources. It depends how fast you want your journey to go. So the first thing I want to bring up is, let's actually talk about what the agent looks like. Let's not look at the admin, let's not look at the code. Let's see what an agent experience might actually be like. So what I've pulled up in this window is just a web page, and this allows an agent to log in from any computer that's connected to the internet anywhere in the world. This is all over the web, it's all encrypted, and it transfers the telephony as well as all the customer information and makes it available for the agent to work anywhere. So if you think about employee satisfaction or things like that, work from home days, giving somebody that might need accessibility options the ability to work from different places, this helps. So first, I'm gonna go ahead and make a phone call. I am going to put myself in agent available state. This just means that I'm ready to take a phone call. I'd like to speak to an agent. So you can see the phone calls coming in. I'm going to accept it. And what happened is on my computer you heard a whisper and it said Aspen Bank Demo. That's letting the agent know where's the phone call coming in from? What's the line it's coming in? What is the context behind it? But a number of other things have actually already happened here. So first, my name is already auto-populated. So it showed up as Will McCain. And then I've got a case ID. This is the queue that I actually came in on the contact flow. So you're giving agent context in terms of why is the person calling, et cetera. You've got a number of different features here in terms of the ability for an agent to manage themselves. But this is just, think of it like your iPhone or your Android device. It's just right here on your computer, on your desktop. So now I want to show you some automated features to help a customer experience, help drive caller satisfaction. And an example might be is, I just called in and said something to the degree of, I'd like to speak to an agent right off the bat. I didn't get a, for this department, press 1, for this department, press 2. And I didn't have to wait 30 seconds or a minute or go through all of the message of the day, announcements, etc. I was able to communicate with it in a natural language conversation, just the way that anybody else would, by saying, I'd like to speak to an agent. But I could say other things as well. Now, in order to enable a feature like that, you needed to know that I spoke English. And so let's first come into a profile. And I'm gonna go ahead and take out English as my additional information. And I'm gonna go ahead and save, and we're gonna call right back in real time. You're gonna see a different experience.
Thanks for calling Aspen Bank.
Para continuar en español, presione 9.
If you'd like all future calls from this phone number to be in English, press 1. Otherwise, done. Please save your language preference to your profile.
All right, that's really simple. And you guys are like, oh, wow, the sky is boiling. But you could do so many things with just that type of feature. And what happened is, in real time, my customer profile actually updated back to English. So when I called back in, it said, do I want Spanish or English? You could choose a lot of different languages. Connect supports a number of different languages from a natural language standpoint. But the next time I call back in, and we'll do it in a second, you're gonna see that it's just gonna ask me, how may I help you, okay? So we've ingested a customer. This customer, myself, already is part of the customer profile system. And so again, I'm just tearing down barriers to each time somebody calls in. They don't have to repeat themselves, but now we're gonna work on things like authentication.
Thanks for calling Aspen Bank. How can I help you?
I'd like to check the status of my application.
Before we provide any personal information, we'll need to verify your identity. Please enter your 9-digit social security number. Got it. Thanks. To protect your personal information, we use the unique characteristics of your voice to verify you. To confirm your identity, please say your full name and complete home address.
Will McCain, 1514 Ocean Drive, Vero Beach, Florida, 33913.
We were able to successfully verify you using your voice. The status of your application is staying pending, and it was last updated on Friday, June 23rd. Is there anything else I can help you with?
I'd like to speak to an agent.
The wait time to speak to an agent is currently between 5 and 10 minutes. Instead of waiting on hold, we can call you back when it's your turn. Press 1 to receive a call back, or stay on the line to wait for the next available agent.
Okay, you can see that a phone call is coming in. I can see myself as an agent. Since I'm in available status, I can go ahead and accept this. I'm gonna go ahead and accept it.
Aspen Bank demo.
Yes, I'd like to check the status of my claim. Okay, we're gonna pause right here. The phone's still connected. There's a lot that just happened. Okay, so I called in and I talked to a machine and I said, I want to check the status of my application. It then authenticated me. Okay, so fraud is a big problem across a lot of different businesses. What we used was Amazon's Voice ID technology to actually analyze an algorithm that had already been preset, built, because I had called in and talked to an agent before and chosen to enroll in something like Voice ID. Now you have complete control over what information you capture or share if somebody authenticates through Voice ID. And you get things like an authenticity score, so that you have a degree of certainty, and you can set thresholds of whether that's really a person or not. What you're really getting around is scams over the last 10, 15 years. If you had said yes on the phone at any point in time, they call you and say, hi, yes, this is so-and-so speaking. They just record yes, they go to your bank and try to authorize some sort of transfer, and it's happened. I know people this actually happened to because they recorded your voice. I'm not talking about a voice recording, there's no personal information. The only personal component of it is your voice imprint. So we actually record an algorithm of your voice. So after entering 2 pieces of information, because I used a social security number, and then it went through my voice authentication, it's showing the agent that I'm authenticating. But at any time during the conversation, let's say I'm going through maybe a mortgage application or something to that degree, I could click refresh as the agent, and it would just start listening to the conversation and re-authenticate the individual speaking. Maybe you heard something you didn't like as an agent when the person was speaking. Maybe something didn't make sense, so you can check this again. You can check your score live in real time. The other thing is, I called in and I said I wanted to actually talk about a claim, and a little button popped up in the top right corner called suggestions. And so what it did is, in real time, it listened and it heard the keyword claim. Now, this is exactly what was said. The agent has the ability to see this. I'm gonna go ahead and show articles that are associated with the word claim that have been allowed as a search database for agents to be able to get assistance. So in this case, it's gonna pull up a document that the agent can reference now in terms of how to process a claim. So we're assisting the agents, right? So how do we talk about agent empowerment? We're using a technology called Amazon Wisdom inside of Amazon Connect to be able to empower an agent in real time to get the instructions they need. That means they don't need to go ask a supervisor. That means they don't need to put you on hold. That doesn't mean that the agent's going to go have to search a database or some sort of drive or file, or even the internet in a lot of cases, for information that could just be readily available provided for them. This same technology can be used for a number of different things. If frustrating things are said on a call and bad words, it can measure things like sentiment, and I'm going to show you later how that all shows up. And all of this flows into analytics to measure what are your callers telling you? How are your agents performing? What are the key trends and the categories as to why people are calling? So now the contact center turns into a very important piece of the business because it's a frontline component to your product, your organization, that your executive team is now going to be very interested in. What are our customers telling us? What are our agents experiencing, right? And to be able to provide that information in real time. Go ahead. Go ahead and end the call. Now, when I
It should take no more than 1 minute. On a scale of 1 to 5.
So what you're hearing there is the end of call survey. A lot of the basic contact center things I'm not showing you because we can do that. That's incorporated into the Amazon Connect. Surveys, callbacks, and all that's dynamic. You can set them based on certain operating principles. For instance, if your contact center all of a sudden takes 10 times the volume it normally does, we can change the state of the contact center to deflect calls to non-agents because the agents will never be able to call them back. Maybe the callback queue is going to get full. We can change that dynamically based on an algorithm or working with inside of your business, hours of operations, or even events in that case. So again, in terms of assisting the agent, this is the wisdom article that's up, but I don't really need that. What I want to come in here and do is maybe tag a call as an agent. This is why the individual called. Okay, they wanted to file a claim. They contacted me, today. And I could put in the contact time, and then was I able to resolve the issue? So I'm going to go ahead and submit what's called an agent disposition code. It's really important for those of you that aren't contact center experts. That component right there helps with reporting, compliance, efficiency, and everything that goes into running and operating a contact center. So I'm going to close this. But the information, all the record of the transcript is over here in terms of what I said. Now, it's not very much because all I said was, hi, yes, I'd like to check my claim. This works on chat as well, though. So we've talked a lot about voice, but there's the ability to take the same technology to a website and have the bots operating the same. Now, you've been hearing somebody interact with me and saying things like, hi, how may I help you? Or please enter your social security number, etc. That's actually Amazon Alexa. So you probably have Alexa in your home in some way, shape, or form. It's in some device you bought, I promise you. And it's using the same reinforcement machine learning model, and it continually improves accuracy. So think back 10 years ago when calling a contact center was very frustrating and that machine really didn't understand what you said. Well, all of the learnings from how to interact with across all kinds of different devices, all of those algorithms have been incorporated, and Amazon continues to improve its model. So you're actually bringing Alexa, and in business form it's called Lex, into your contact center or into your chatbot. The ability to actually engage with Lex and have a two-way conversation just like you would at home. So it's consumer-like experiences, but in the enterprise. How am I doing on time here? Oh, I got 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and close the contact here. There are other things we can do here as well, just while I'm inside the agent workspace. All of this real estate is customizable. So whether your agent has one screen they're operating on and you need the contact pane to look more like this, or they've got a secondary screen with the ability to put the entire phone on the side. This also integrates with enterprise CRM platforms like Salesforce as an example, right? So you may already have Salesforce or some sort of other CRM platform integrated. We can take elements of this and integrate it into that CRM if your organization's made those investments, but also we can tie the data together so that the call records, the claims processes, outbound dialing campaigns, things like that all flow together in one complete workflow. The cool thing about Amazon, and when you go Amazon native, is that Amazon is releasing new features almost every day. And I find out about them all the time. I follow a number of the solution architects on LinkedIn, And it could be tasks or cases or profiles or voice ID. And these are all coming. And so you're getting this wave of new features being added. The cool part about it is with Amazon, you're not paying for things you're not using. It's a consumption model that's based on pay-per-use. So you ever been in a situation where you're like, I only want to pay for what I'm using? All of us think that when we think cable TV. But this is truly that. And so you have an opportunity to play with things. You have the ability to control your costs. You have the ability to take advantage of the rapid pace of innovation that Amazon's delivering right now. So tasks or cases, in this case, might be used for like an ITS and workflow, might be used as part of your customer experience to track different things that need to go on, and you can assign agents to them manually or automatically. So you could create a task automatically, such as somebody called in, uploaded some information, and an agent needs to call them back to verify, a piece of documentation or something like that. That can go into the workflow to make sure that an agent actually, it gets assigned the task to follow up with a customer. And then the agent closes that when that's complete. So think about workflow automation as you're moving throughout your business, and you can use that to assign different tasks. There's a lot of different ITSM software out there, like ServiceNow that does this, and others. But again, right sizing for your business, what works best for you. All right, last but not least here, let's talk a little bit about analytics. So AI ML is a really fuzzy term in the industry, right? Every single one of you use it in your day, whether you know it or not. We just talked about it quite a bit, actually. Amazon Alexa is a form of AI ML, or artificial intelligence, or machine learning. And so, actually, one of my counterparts in our business is actually on the patent for this, patent application for Amazon with this, and it's called Contact Lens. What it's doing is analyzing all the bits and pieces of information that's gathering either in a chat or the voice conversation, so that you have a summation of each contact record, but as well as a whole in the mass. So you can look at trends as part of the contact center environment, as well as agent performance, right? Who's performing well? Who's got a positive or negative sentiment? So let me walk you through just some of these things. So first of all, there's agent evaluation, which is QA/QM, quality assurance, quality management. And this is actually done usually by a manager or a supervisor, and you need to score your agents, right? You need to go back and listen to phone calls and analyze that call. Was it good or bad? And a supervisor typically has the task of doing a certain number of these a week in order to control quality across the organization. Now, all of the call handling, these different topics, et cetera, can be programmed into here. This is just an example of what a supervisor might come in and start jotting down as feedback for the employee. In terms of the contact lens environment, we're looking at a particular customer sentiment trend over a 2-minute, 29-second call. It was negative, right? They were unhappy. Then all of a sudden the agent or the situation started to turn positive, right? We finished out about even keel there. And so you can see what the portion of the call was negative or positive. You can look at who was speaking. Was the agent listening? Was the agent doing all the talking? As I sit here and speak to you just completely without any questions. So my bar would be all the way up. And you're getting data points. And data is everything. Data is everything in your business. And so how do you take all of these pieces of data and put them in things like Amazon QuickSight, or your own learning reinforcement learning models, or your own data strategy? And we're not going to talk about today. Our organization is going to come back with Amazon and Central Pacific Bank in August, and we'll have more of an analytics, so we can talk with you one-on-one about how you can visualize analytics and how can you get this into your potential analytics platforms, and what's a data strategy look like it with. But there's a lot more here that I just don't have time to go through. But let's show as an individual component of a call record.
I'm so glad you had such a good program to help. The situation is really hard, and how easy it was for me to get service today really makes me think that everything is going to be just fine.
All right, that's my buddy Mary. So, a lot of different things happened just even that little bit of time here. First of all, an agent can change the speed, or a supervisor can change the speed of playback. That just increases time. I need to find something, I need to listen to it. But at the point in time, it actually identified where in the conversation this actual text was spoken, but we've taken and transcribed it into a text version so that it's searchable and it's referenceable. The other thing though is, in relation to this call, we've automatically pre-sorted the categories as to why the caller called. This is the coolest piece of technology. So we've actually entered these as categories, but we've assigned keywords to them and said, if we hear this, we hear a keyword, but I'll actually show you, okay, this call talked about voice bio, there was low customer sentiment. Let's go to the proper closing component of it. And so if you scroll down here, I clicked on the category. Thanks for calling. Have a great day. It shows when that tag was actually set, so you can go immediately right into the conversation where the category was hit. That's pretty cool. This is all AI ML. Takes advantage of a number of different AWS services that have been packaged by Amazon into Amazon Connect for your use, and we help configure that. So Randy, I'm getting close on time here.
Well, just for those of you in the audience, in case you're wondering, this is not custom built. What Will is showing you today, that's out of the box. So in case you're sitting here going, well, now I may have to find somebody to develop it, that's out of the box. So just in case you were wondering.
So let me go back into the environment here. Let me just check my notes. Okay. So again, agents can log in from anywhere, any computer. There are some resiliency things that I'll talk about real quick here. Every region Amazon deploys its services have what's called availability zones. And so every region has at least 3 availability zones, meaning that they're 60 miles apart per region. So if something happened in one data center, the other 2 are still up and running. So it's a highly resilient platform that rarely has issues. Technology, as you know, is technology, but it's as I mentioned, 50% of all cloud workloads across the world run on AWS. So it's got to stay up. Now, AWS has different service regions. We've got the West region as an example that a lot of Hawaiian companies would probably take advantage of. You can test things like latency. It's not going to be an issue. We're actually operating out of the West region right now, and you're hearing these calls and these things go back and forth. So it's not an issue. But if you have agents, particularly maybe in the Philippines or over in India or as part of the Eastern Bloc or South America, there are different things we can do routing and network-wise to ensure that your agents have low latency and do not have issues in terms of connecting with Amazon Connect. So it's more of a networking thing that we do with our clients and helping advise. But there are millions of agents on this platform today, all across the world, all over different places. And you can set Connect up in a number of different places, whether it be in North America, whether it be in Europe, Asia. It's available as a service in a lot of different places. So if you have an organization that's multinational, you have the ability to deploy in different regions if you so need to. The guts of Connect, this is what we get into, right? So Aspen as an organization has a number of developers that develop specifically in coding languages like Python or C or Java. And we tie all of the bits and pieces of information together. We build the workflows. We might build a contact flow for you. What's that customer experience journey that you want it to be? And then how do you take a continuous loop of innovation where you're re-ingesting the information that you've just learned to further enhance your contact center environment? So that's our add value as an AWS partner. We have a little over 500 deployments on Amazon Connect. So I'd say we're the largest, if not the second largest, Amazon Connect partner that exists out there. Been around since the beginning. And a lot of very talented people. And you can imagine just about every workload across federal, state, healthcare, financial services, some top secret workloads, all the way down to small business as well. The cool thing about this platform is, like, you're thinking maybe, okay, this looks expensive, I've just seen a lot of things. You only pay for what you use. So in a little bit, I'll talk about how you can get your own journey going. But Randy, I think I'll give you some time to come up here and talk a little bit more about Connect with the team.
Thanks, Will. Thanks everyone for coming and sharing your lunch hour with us. As I'm getting my laptop set up, a quick question for you all, and actually just a quick introduction. My name's Randy Wu with Amazon Web Services. I live about 12 minutes from headquarters in Seattle, so if you're ever out of direction, please look me up. Do we need it? Yeah. As I'm getting this ready, I always like to ask the question of just who in maybe the last day has had a customer service experience? Raise a hand. Yeah, you have. I know you have. You've been traveling. How about in the last, maybe the last week? Anyone's had a customer experience moment? Yeah, I see one hand. How about in the last month?
See it right? Everybody nodding.
Yeah, everyone's nodding. Anyone care to share a good experience of customer service? Yeah? How about here?
I'll share a bad. You can do yours.
Okay, actually, I was going to ask bad next, but if the bad always seems to want to go first. So.
Right, but you can solve this problem, I'm sure. So I was in a place where I had no cell phone coverage, so I had to use my wife's phone to call into customer service. And it got caught in an indefinite loop because it kept thinking of my wife, going back to the phone as the authentication.
Oh, is that right?
Right, so when I tried to for the agent, they said hello, and they gave my wife's name, so I explained I'm not my wife. So I guess that's kind of a graceful way of how do you solve it.
That's a good one. Misidentity, misconnections, different channels. How about anyone had to go? Someone else raise their hand back here. Anyone? Would you care to share what your experience was?
Sure. The callback feature is wonderful, you don't have to wait. But most of the time, you get a callback on an anonymous number, and it gets filtered out by as spam.
Oh, right.
So it doesn't work if you do that.
Yeah.
I get really frustrated when companies don't put their caller ID saying who they are when they call.
Yeah, that would definitely be frustrating. In fact, I ran into that just recently. Anybody else haven't had an experience they want to share? This should be one here. I'll share one that I just had last weekend. I was trying to set up my cable service, the service that shall not be named here in the island. And I would say it was okay. I mean, I got to somebody eventually, but they had to go through the, like, what are you calling about, and had to go through that whole routine again. And better yet, I would have expected, hey, like, they recognize my mobile number. They could easily understand who I am. They're like, hey, I just had requested new service to start within the last 24 hours, and probably could have anticipated, hey, are you calling about your new service setup? And oh, by the way, we see that your cable modem isn't connected to our network. Is that what you're calling about? I kind of would have expected something like that, which would have saved a bunch of time. So I think we've all experienced that. And here, my short part of your day here is really to get you thinking about how do you take that next step for delivering a great customer experience, or as we often talk about, how do we reimagine customer experience? How do we take that next big leap? As Will kindly took you through sort of the experience of what it might feel like for an agent, what it might feel like if you're on the other side of a chat or a phone call or an SMS. What is it that's powering all of that? And he shared with you a little bit that Amazon had launched a service called Amazon Connect a little over 6 years ago, coming up on 7 years. Hard to believe it's moved that quickly, and it's really disrupted the industry. As you can probably imagine, the world's #1 cloud provider coming out with an enterprise class application for contact center is pretty provoking for a lot of our customers. Right? To be able to have the scale and size, reliability, the security of an Amazon and AWS powering something as important customer experience has been really intriguing. And I've been with AWS now 6 years, and in October, it's been really exciting to be part of this new service and delivering this for customers like Adrian, Central Pacific Bank. So what are the 3 different areas that we focus on and where we are driving a lot of investment based on customer feedback? And these are the 3. Omnichannel customer experience, agent empowerment, productivity, and then analytics. And how do you bring all that good information and data back into self-improvement or bettering the experience for your customer? In terms of omnichannel experience, this is all about how do we meet the customer where they're at. Whether or not they want to reach out. In my case, when I was calling the table, I use my mobile phone. Sometimes even like if I'm like Amazon.com, I have an issue with a package. I don't like to call in. I actually like to use chat, like through the website, so I prefer chat. My daughter, she will never pick up the phone and call. Right? So it's all going to be SMS for her. So, however, like shouldn't companies be able to meet me where I'm at in the way that I want to communicate? So that's delivering that omnichannel experience. Agent empowerment. We know that that agents that have the information and the tools, the processes available to them to help customers deliver a delightful experience. I remember seeing a study that said 70% of customers are willing to stay with their current vendor even if a competitor provides a better service or a better product. Imagine that, like over 2/3 of your customers will stay with you and have that brand loyalty if you can deliver a great experience. Even if maybe your competitors are offering something better. How great is that? Impact for customer experience. And third, analytics, insights, and optimization. Something that AWS has excelled at for years now is the ability to help you turn your data into true insights. Whether or not that's inwardly focused for what you might be able to do better operationally, or externally focused for how you can help your customers, might be your partners, business partners, etc. I have the opportunity to talk with a lot of our customers, whether or not they have 5 customer service agents, help desk agents, up to tens of thousands of agents. I've even had the opportunity, even our own Amazon.com customer support organization. Anyone want to venture to guess how many customer service agents Amazon, the retail side, has on average? Any guesses?
5.
5? Nick, no.
10,000.
10,000? Way short. Way short. All right, I'm on a time limit, so 117,000 on average. On average. And then anyone shop Amazon Prime Day coming up here? Right, we tend to see then an increase of about 25 to 30% of those agents. So imagine bringing in another 35,000 agents for about a 1-week period. Right? That's a spike, right? So talking to these customers, even talking to our own internal customer support, I often ask, hey, what are some of the things that you like? We're going to get to hear from Adrian and through the things that they've liked and experienced. But 3 things tend to come to the fore, and that's what I want to share with you here over the next few minutes. One of them is, don't try to read all these slides, in fact. One of them, in fact, I will blank it so you cannot see and try to read them all. But one of them is the fact that we have created, from the ground up, a cloud-first contact center that really has tried, and I think has succeeded in a lot of ways, to deliver all of the core functionality that contact center, customer service, sales organization, marketing organizations, supply chain organizations, what they want in order to deliver that great experience to customers. And so, putting this back on, those are some of the 3 areas that I just mentioned before. Omnichannel customer experience, right? Conversational IVR, for example, you saw Will demonstrate that. Right? Had some automation by a person that didn't have to take the call, do a little bit of that up front. Agent empowerment and productivity. Do you remember the portion of Will's demo where he brought up that little snippet of sort of next best action or next best content for that agent? Popped it up just based on the live conversation going. How helpful is that, right? Will showed how, hey, he didn't have to go and type in keywords. It was just brought up there for that agent. How fantastic. Analytics, insights, and optimization. Will showed you a piece of this real-time conversational analytics that you can see, like, how is the sentiment going? Maybe a supervisor needs to step in. Maybe it's more of a younger, newer agent, customer service support agent, and a supervisor needs to pop in there and maybe assist. Right? How great would it be to have those kind of insights to jump in? I added a fourth one here, and this is for all of you who actually have to maintain and operate the customer service software, in this case Amazon Connect. In this case, self-serve configuration management. A lot of self-service capabilities. It's been one of the hallmarks for Amazon Connect, is that you can come in and actually start your own contact center in about 10 minutes. I'm gonna say that again. You could go in and with an Amazon account established, go in and launch your own, like pull down a phone number, toll-free number or local number, 808 number, go through the 6-step wizard, and you could have a contact center running in 10 minutes. So, see Nick and the local team next how we can do that, or Aspen, we'll get into that a little bit more. But that has been one of the hallmarks. And a lot of the functionality is here. I'll point out one, forecasting, capacity planning, and scheduling. This is one that we just released about 6 months ago. Some of you may know it as workforce management or workforce optimization. We didn't call it that. We sometimes want to feel like we're a little bit different. We call it forecasting, capacity planning, scheduling, because everybody in the contact center knows what that means and what that does. So I encourage you to take a look at that. But it is an example of how we are bringing all of the customer service contact management capabilities to you in one solution. It makes it easier to manage. You don't have to deal with all those integrations, and hopefully minimize the number of vendors that you have to work for. So that's the first thing, just everything under one umbrella. The second thing that I often hear from customers about what they like about working with AWS and Amazon Connect is the pace of innovation, particularly around artificial intelligence and machine learning. But the pace of innovation has been really stunning for me personally to see. I've been in tech for 32 years now, and the last 6 with Amazon Connect, it is pretty incredible to see the amount of new capabilities that we launch. Not every year, not every 6 months, but like every month. We have an internal Slack channel of announcing, and I just can't keep up with it. It's pretty neat to see what we're delivering on behalf of our customers. Gartner, in fact, did a survey, and they had pulled a lot of our Connect customers and asked them, why did you purchase Amazon Connect? Why did you use it? And 66%, like 2/3 of the respondents, said it is because it allows them to drive innovation. And that was one of the big blockers that a lot of the customers have told me that is why they were moving or looking to change, is because they just didn't see new and innovative capabilities that help them improve customer experience from their existing provider. Gartner, by the way, also has a survey that come out this year. They just released this a couple months ago. This is the voice of the customer. So this is not Gartner doing their due diligence, and I mean, they do this, right? They do an audit analysis on capabilities. But this is where they talk to 11 of the largest, most market dominant software providers in the customer service space, and then they publish the voice of the customer quadrant. And Amazon Web Services with Amazon Connect is in the customer's choice quadrant, which is fantastic to see in our relatively short existence in the contact segment market. Right? This is basically, they're asking customers to rate your experience on a variety of different metrics, 1 through 5, and this is what customers are telling Gartner. So we're really proud to have earned that designation this year. Along with the innovation is, again, the artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities. We can have a whole conversation if you want around ChatGPT and how we're embracing generative AI. And at the end of the day, when customers are looking to infuse AI into the contact center, what does that even mean? And it often falls in some of these kinds of use cases. Agents being able to get the information at the right time. Hey, we want to figure out what issues our customers are bringing to us. Like, how do we figure that out? I'm going to share an example of that. And then, hey, how do we optimize how well our agents are doing? The way that Amazon Connect can bring that to you today with capabilities we have right now that you can turn on, there's a variety of them. Will actually demonstrated a number of these, like the Amazon Connect voice ID, right? You could just talk and Amazon Connect authenticates you, right? Knows who you are, and then can bring up customer information for the agent so that they can continue to support the customer. So from beginning of, in this case, an incoming customer call, but it could be a chat, SMS session, all the way through the end, you can see all the different capabilities. These are all capabilities within Amazon Connect that are machine learning powered and AI powered. And these aren't developer tools. These are capabilities that literally radio button, hey, let's try it, let's turn it on, maybe with a small portion of our customer service center or help desk, IT help desk, maybe it's an HR help desk, and let's just try it out. And if it works for us, then great, we can scale it out. If it doesn't, we turn it off and we pay little to nothing. Right? That's the pace, what we mean about pace of innovation. Not just AWS, but your pace of innovation, your ability to test and adopt these new capabilities if it helps with your business. Traeger, are you familiar with Traeger? Wood-fire grill? Yeah? Some people might have one. I have one now too. Really interesting pace of innovation. Traeger does a lot of it. They've increased the pace of innovation very, very much since they've gone to Amazon Connect. Here, Brian Taggart, who heads up their CX operations, he said, hey, Apple Business Chat quickly became our highest first contact resolution channel. And they had the opportunity to turn that on, so people through SMS, and that's certainly my case. When I'm out my grill, I'm my own eye, like I'm not gonna run back in, like I find my phone, I'm just like, I got an issue now, I need to fix stuff. So really cool. I'll share with you one other quick story, which is bringing AI and ML to contact center, is they were able to take all of their call recordings and have the analysis around what we call like theme detection. And so they were able to bubble up that for a wood-fired grill, there's like a little internal thermometer thing in there, and it was covered by a device when it ships to protect that thermometer. Well, a lot of people would forget to turn that off, and guess what? You fire up your grill, it melts on the thermometer, and now the thermometer doesn't work, and next thing you know, like Randy's calling it, like, hey, my thing's all off. Well, they figured that out using Connect and the analytics. And so they fed that back into operations. They changed, I think they put like more of a cardboard cover thing over it with a little sticker, take this off before you start it up, and they did. And that cut down issues on that one thing, on that one device by like 90%. And so those little things that improve customer experience are all much more readily available, at least to Traeger, they're using Amazon Connect. So that was a second thing, pace of innovation, especially in the AI and ML space. The last thing that I often hear customers bring up to me is cost. I mean, the reality is like, you probably have budgets, right? You don't have endless spend however you want. Will brought this up. The notion that pay-as-you-go, utility pricing. At this point in conversations, I sometimes will walk over to the light switch in the back of the room and flip it on and off just to demonstrate what I mean. But literally, when it's off, you are not paying anything. When it's on, then you only pay for what you use. So these are just some examples of pricing. Pricing is all on our website, so you can understand based on your chat volumes, SMS volumes, call volumes, you can estimate. If you want some help, reach out to the team. We're more than happy to help you kind of estimate what price might be like. And when we do that, you're going to see another reason why using Amazon is a little different. And the reason for that is often people will provide me with their volumes, their high-level volumes, because that's what they're used to in licensing. But when we go through them and say, okay, you're here at say like 100, that's your peak. But your peak in the case of say like Traeger, you're probably grilling more in the summertime here, it's always nice, but where I'm at in Seattle, I'm definitely grilling more in the summer. Guess what? Like sales is more in the summer, customer support issues are more in the summer for Traeger, so their peak is up. But then in the fall, winter, early spring, not so much, their call volumes are down. They don't have to get as much usage from Connect. So guess what? Their volumes go down and correspondingly, their costs go down. So the reason why, on average, Amazon Connect customers are spending about 35% less than their legacy systems is because they just aren't having to license at that high watermark. Right? Second piece here is the far left-hand side. We have a free tier. So for a year, if you want, you can go configure your Amazon Connect instance. We'll give you 90 minutes on the service free per month. You can pull down a toll-free number, a local number, you get a number for free, you get 30 minutes of inbound calls. Number of these features that you've seen, we give you a free usage of those up to, 500 messages, 100 tasks. I mean, every feature has free tier. Right? So literally, you can go and configure your contact center and spend nothing, try it out. If you like it, great, use it, and then you will start paying for more usage as you ramp up. If you don't like it, turn it off, throw it away, and you've paid nothing. Your only cost has been your time that you spent. And that's been game-changing for a lot of our customers to be able to go and start that. Robert, yeah.
So, talk about your data from the business source. So what is it's needed in order to make the tool functional? Because you talk about a lot of capabilities, right, that are out of the box. Dynamic tool using Amazon data.
Yeah.
But what about the business source data that would need it in order for this tool to be effective?
So like, give me an example, just so I can make sure.
Well, so we have our membership data, we have
Yeah.
our claims data, and then there are different repositories
Yes.
that are scattered, right?
Right.
How do you bring it together? What's needed in order for that, the tool to be effective and have that data? Does it all need to be relocated and ported into the cloud, into Amazon? Is it a connection? I mean,
The answer is no. That data is critical. So we do have a capability with Amazon Connect where you can leave that data in place and use that as a federated source to bring that and bubble it back up and say, provide it to an agent. So maybe you're pulling information from some customer database, maybe it's a CRM here, maybe it's an order management system over here, maybe it's an account management financial system over there. You can pull that all together in Connect, we call it customer profiles, and you can pull together essentially sort of one identity of, say, a customer to be able to use within the Connect environment. But you can leave all that data in the sources that they originated in.
so you can build profiles in the tool for each one of your members.
That's exactly
Various
right.
different data.
That's right. In fact, we just had, I don't know if everyone's familiar with the kitchen store provider, Servlet's Hub. At any rate, so they just did that. In fact, they had a small, lightweight CRM, they had an order entry system, their supply chain system, and they correlated all that information using Connect profiles, customer profiles, so that when their agents get on the phone, it's, oh, hey, Robert, I see that you ordered the, kitchen set, or whatever, and I can also tell that maybe it has not been delivered. Is that what you're calling about? Yes, okay, I can see that it's within a day, it should be able to get you to apologize. And again, using like the pop-up, it could be, I don't know if Servlet's Hub does this, but you could say, oh, because of that, it might pop up for the agent, hey, let's offer Robert, a $5 coupon on his next order, something like that. But yes, to answer your question, you can leave the data where it needs to be. You can have that federated and brought together as a source for one instance of a customer within Connect. Is that what you were getting to?
The other question I have is about the various different services, the voice recognition. You talk about turning it on. Is it a free usage or is it an on-off cost? And the reason I'm asking is because we have a Medicare, heavy Medicare book. A lot of folks wouldn't use that because of their own concerns over efficacy, right?
Yeah.
Of adapting to technology.
Yes.
So is it an all on or all off, or is it?
Specifically, it's an opt-in for the customer. So while you may have it turned on as an organization, customers have to opt into it.
Right, well, what about the pricing? Is it priced for the customer that opts in, or is it a module?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So Voice ID is for the customer that actually is using that. And I will confirm for that how that works if they opt in. I'll confirm that, but yes, I believe it is the per customer used per month. Per transaction. Yes. Yeah. So whether or not they use it or not, again, it's up to. It's ultimately up to them.
Pay a certain amount per module, and our adoption rate is only like 20% because of our demographic of our
Right.
members.
Right. Yes,
We're
that's right.
reluctant to
So,
leverage the-
thank you for looking.
Yeah.
Per transaction. And I will confirm that for you. So the three things, again, a lot of the capabilities all created hopefully for you for what you will need under one service with one vendor with AWS. that innovation that you can get, especially around AI and ML. And third is just to pay for what you're going to use. Those tend to be three of like the really high level, but like consistent themes that I'm hearing from customers. We're going to talk a little bit now about like how can you move forward, and there's essentially two kind of primary ways I think might challenge you all with. One is you can certainly go configure your own Amazon Connect instance. As I mentioned, like you could literally go set this up in about 10 or 12 minutes if you have an Amazon account already. If you don't, I'm sure Nick or one of the other AWS people here can help you do that, but that can be really quick. Now that's just to get an instance going, take a phone call. To do all the really cool, smooth customer experience things, that may be where you want some assistance, right? And that's where our partners with Aspen comes in, right? They've been with us since the beginning. They've done over 500 implementations, and you've said they've worked with many of my customers. They've done fantastic work. So wherever you're at on the spectrum of, hey, you want somebody like an Aspen to do it all for you, hit the quote easy button, or you're going to do it all yourself, you can do that. And if you're somewhere in between, like maybe you want Aspen to just help with some of the design and initial implementation, then you build up your own center of excellence and expertise. That's a really good way, in fact, a pretty common way that I see customers working with as well, right? Aspen's going to know, like, hey, let's help you navigate around the potholes that we see customers sometimes fall into, like they've been through it before. So I think those two options, if you're so inclined, are really good ways to go. And last piece here, if you are going to get going, this is my advice, and not just mine, but for my team, that we specialize in this for Connect. Think big, start small, and just go quickly, right? Because it is there, and again, you just can pay for what you use. So think big is imagine not like, hey, let's not just do like for like. What's the purpose of that? But how do we really want this to be a great experience for our customers? Out of those dozen or so use cases, let's pick one or two, and let's go implement that and see what that's like, and learn from that. And then go fast then let's go put all the other ones in there. Right? I think you'll hear a little bit more about that here as we go through the rest of the afternoon. I think we're going to have Aspen back up to talk about starting your customer experience journey, so they can actually give you a lot of sort of, I was going to say the good, the bad, the ugly. Hopefully there's not too much bad, very little ugly, a lot of good, but they can talk really about what does this really take.
You picked up dinner last night, so that was good.
Okay, sounds good. But thank you for that. If you're having questions, again, as Leilani pointed out, please, the yellow stickies or questions, we'll pick those up. Anyone have a question before I turn it back over to Lindsay? Yes.
Yes. Does that service have a built-in share screen feature?
Great question. We actually just released that like 2 days ago. So yes, like a screen share. Oh, actually, an agent recording, we're screen recording. So yes, you could.
Or do you mean engaging a customer and sharing a screen with them? Yeah. Yep. You can configure it to do so if you have. And we leverage some different AWS technologies, but essentially launching like a virtual collaboration environment, similar to like Zoom or things of that nature, but you can get them a link to click on, and then such if somebody needed guided support, an agent could engage in that experience.
Yep.
So the phone call is through internet, not a landline, and internet as well.
So we actually, one of the hallmarks of Connect is actually we provide all the telephony for our customers. So we are our own reservoir in effect. So we have established multi-redundancy carrier relationships with Amazon Connect. So it is through, we don't reveal like who all the carriers are, but they're probably all the big carriers who you know. So we are actually managing all the carrier connections.
And Amazon's negotiating power, which is pretty good too, as they mentioned how many agents they have, so pretty good telephony rates.
Yes.
So if there was a drop call and the agent have to call the customer back, will they see AWS or will they see the business name?
Yes, so you can set it up so it would, like the end user would see your business name. You can set that up so that it would see your business name. Yeah, it's not going to be the carrier.
completely customizable, whatever you want caller ID to say. In fact, if you want the number to represent a main number, so you're not actually giving them a customer service number, you can do spoofing. And there's some newer technology out where you can actually turn caller ID into more than just text. It can actually show a logo or a picture of your company to drive more authenticity in order to get people to pick up. Because now, just like everybody in this room, we run a contact center businesses, but I rarely pick up my phone unless I recognize the number. So how do you drive a higher level of pickup through some of these different strategies? You spend a little bit of money there, but you're gonna get a higher pickup rate. It pays itself in huge dividends.
Did you want to?
Yeah,
And then
I'm gonna show some fun stuff.
Okay, sounds good.
I'll steal the mic from you. So team up. One is, I'm gonna show you actually how easy it is to get started with Amazon Connect. So you got a credit card, and you wanna do it on your phone with me or anything like that, you can. I'm just gonna show you grabbing a number and setting up an environment. Thanks so much. AWS, put some on here, apologize. Sorry, I forgot we're not in the hockey locker room. I'm gonna show you at least 3 things. I think I got 15 minutes or so to keep me honest here.
Yeah, then we'll grab some lunch.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna go ahead and log into my AWS account, and this is actually my personal account. And Ned, you're already gonna yell at me for using root, but I do it anyways. So this is what your developers, what your coders, what anybody that operates inside of an AWS environment gets to log into. This is the Amazon.com version of the AWS world, right? So all of these different services that exist inside of here that we might pull together, we haven't even talked about. And I would invite you in August, I think AWS has an event that's gonna showcase some more of the different AWS technologies. You have an opportunity to learn about different things. Everything from reporting to database to what's your data lake strategy, virtual desktop. It's again, a big Lego blocks. But if I click on Amazon Connect as a service, so again, first of all, if you sign up for Amazon Connect, you can sign up with, or Amazon Web Services, you can sign up with a credit card, I think within 30 seconds. They make it extremely easy. It's just click through, sign up, and you can type in Amazon Connect. Now, there are different regions, as I mentioned, right? So there's an East region, there's a West region here, and this is being serviced out of Oregon. But as you can see, Connect is offered in a lot of different places around the world. Now, again, this uses a telephony network, so it doesn't mean that Amazon Connect is only accessible in these regions. It's part of the telephony network, and Amazon takes care of the creation of all of those different things. And so I'm gonna go ahead and quote unquote add an instance. And in this case,
So this is Will standing up his own Connect host.
yep. So there's a couple of different options in terms of identity management. Do you want your agents using your corporate login credentials? Or do you want to do it inside of Amazon, or do you want to do it in some other way, shape, or form? You give it a name. In this case, I don't actually need to set up an administrator just because this is going to be a temporary instance I'm using for the group. I can choose whether I want this to be in a call center that allows inbound calls or outbound calls, right? So you might actually have a contact center that is outbound only, and you do not want to allow inbound calls. You might be running campaigns, could be sales, could be customer outreach, etc. I can set my data storage policy inside of AWS, including all the security credentialing behind it, as well as the strategy behind data management. And so you may want to save recordings for a month. You may need to save them for 5 years because of compliance and regulation. You may want to move some of those calls and transcripts to cold storage and even further decrease your costs, and all those options exist inside of AWS. You might have keys that change every 5 minutes because that's how sensitive your data is. Every piece of data inside of AWS is encrypted at rest and in transit. So I'm gonna go ahead and review my options. I'm gonna go ahead and start creating an instance. So you'll see the progress here at the top, and what's happening actually is traditionally you would have had to purchase phones, you would have had to purchase servers, you would have had to buy licensing from a traditional contact center vendor, you would have had to call the telco or the cable company and get them to secure lines and drag them to your office or location you were gonna host those boxes. You're gonna have to unrack them, you're gonna have to rack and stack them, you're gonna have to put everything together, you're gonna have to sort out a telephony plan. And all of that may take 3 months if you're lucky, right? All of this is happening live right now inside of AWS, all of this provisioning across the telephony network, the data storage, all of the systems that need to be updated, they're all secure, they're all patched, they're all under AWS. You don't have to worry about those types of things. That is true value of the cloud provider. So you're focusing on the service and the things that are created. So what it's gonna end up creating, you can see it's kind of moving along here, the progress bar. What it's gonna end up creating is an environment that looks something like this. And on the left, I'm gonna see what my previous telephony strategy was, whether I picked inbound, outbound calls, whether I enabled features like tasks or cases, whether agent lookup or voice ID. This is the guts or the genesis story of Amazon Connect in terms of where it sits. So I might log in here, and this looks very similar to the other environment that we were in earlier today. These are two separate environments. You can see the domain name. This is all accessible by web, but you have different control measures in terms of how people access a credential inside of this. You're gonna grab a phone number. So all you're gonna do, it's setting up in the background right now. You're gonna go ahead and click claim a number. And you can choose whether you want a toll-free number, and you can do it across multiple different countries in this case. And in this case, I'm gonna grab a DID number. So phone numbers, kind of interesting. You can bring your phone number, you can park it with a carrier and have it point towards an Amazon Connect phone number if you want to as part of a strategy. We get into that whole architecture of how you want calls coming in through the network, et cetera. We do that with you. But you don't have to go ditch the phone number you have today. You can bring it with you. You can also acquire other phone numbers as well inside of the system. You can make requests into AWS with business support in order to get more phone numbers or get a different area code of things if you want. That gives a level of personalization for your business to make it seem as if you have local support or local numbers if needed. There's a lot of different reasons as to why you need flexibility inside of telephony. So I'm gonna go ahead and click save, and I'm going to assign this a sample inbound contact center flow. And so this phone number is now claimed. So this, it's kind of hard to see, but this bottom phone number didn't exist before. The whole contact center didn't exist 5 minutes ago. It was created. We grabbed the phone number, and you can make a phone call against it. I think it actually drops into my wife's doctor's office right now, so I don't think I'm going to do that. But this is where I've sent the sample inbound flow, and so I actually use it personally in my own personal life as part of us. Now, I also want to show you a bit of art of the possible. So I'm going to go ahead and screen mirror here something. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to show you is an augmented experience for if you call into a contact center. This is technically called visual IVR, interactive voice response. So the idea is you're talking to an agent, and the agent's trying to help you gather documents or information that you need to upload into the organization in order to accomplish a task. So in this case, the agent has sent an automated text to somebody that they can click on and now turn their device right here into a very powerful tool in order to ingest information. So this is set up for another customer demo that we were doing. So first thing you'll notice is that it looks and feels a lot like an application. They didn't have to download anything. This is just a web app. So I'm gonna go ahead and click here to begin. And so I need to upload proof of citizenship. I'm gonna go ahead and choose from my library, and I've got a picture of this driver's license. I'm gonna go ahead and click that as part of the upload. Oh, well, that's great, I uploaded somebody's ID, but then want to make sure it's actually me. So I'm gonna take a picture here. This is not me, this guy looks a lot better than me. Next, I'm gonna come down here and upload my work documentation. So this is text-based information that the organization's gonna need in order for verification. And then there's an extra level here because this individual is part of the military as well. You're gonna review all of your documentation that you want to upload. You'll click next. We want to assign a security pin so the individual has access to this later on, and provide them with a link that they can access this later as well. So now you're going to see different bits of information. I can toggle on and off my communication preferences, etc. Yes, this is a demo, but this is the idea and things we typically work with our clients on. So you could be an airline and wanting to help somebody with seat selection. You could be a bank and needing to take in documents. You could be a healthcare organization and needing to gather eligibility information. And this technology can go as far as actually reading the text information off of pictures and scanning that automatically in, meaning agents have to enter less information. A user has to do less data input, so it's less frustrating to them. And now you've got copies of the records. So a person doesn't have to go to a fax machine or a Kinko's or whatever, FedEx nowadays, I think, to try to get information in. It speeds that process, speeds the process of the organization, offers a high ROI. All possible in connection, in conjunction with Amazon Connect. It's a guided experience that an agent would have been on the phone with and said, I'm gonna send you a link. You've got the documents in front of you, just take pictures of them, right? So we'll help build that. The other thing I wanna show you is a lot of, we haven't talked much here around customer experience journey or the strategy as it relates to customer experience, but typically in the industry, there's one term that rules them all, and that's agent deflection, which is the notion that you don't actually want a call to go to an agent. You want a caller to be able to self-service. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that for every single organization, but when you're talking 200,000 plus agents that exist out there, every 30 seconds matters. Every bit of talk time adds up. Every agent that has to be on a call with a customer doing rudimentary tasks and things like that is a cost to your business. So how can you potentially deflect and get them into a different modality or self-help? So in this case, I'm actually want to look up Amazon Connect Labs. Randy, you'll see if you remember this, Mr. Yosser's demo he set up a long time ago. So this is part of Google Maps. And imagine somebody was searching for your organization in Google Maps. And you pull up and you say, okay, cool, I want to hit call. I want to call this person. Well, actually, some different options popped up here. You can do this right now. You can search Amazon Connect Labs in your Google Maps and this will pop up. You have the ability to still make the phone call. But wait a second, you can also chat with an agent. So what's important about chat versus voice? Well, an agent can actually service multiple chats at the same time, or that chat could actually have a Lex bot behind it and self-service a customer whose original intention was to call and take up agent's time, who's expensive. But maybe they could have actually self-serviced through chat. You might see some of the airlines rolling these things out right now, right? But this is changing demographics. People want to interact and communicate with organizations in a different way. And it's really about consumerization of the enterprise and how you interact with it. So that's that. I think we're gonna break for a little bit of lunch here.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Well, the food's still warm.
Awesome. And we grab food, we come back. Dan's going to talk about a few of the use cases from an Aspen perspective. And then we're going to hear directly from the team here around their own experience. And yeah, let's get some food and take a little break.
I'm fortunate enough that my territory gives me the opportunity to serve customers in the state of Hawaii. So one story, a customer story I wanted to share today is because it's one of my personal favorites of ours, because the outcomes that we drove actually go beyond just some of the standard KPI improvement metrics that companies are typically going for, which is great, but there's a little something extra on this one. So one of our customers, Los Angeles Department of Child and Family Services. They are actually the largest Department of Child and Family Services in the entire country. So they're responsible for the safety of 2 million children across 88 cities, serving more than 35,000 children in crisis, which is quite a few. To give you an idea of how many staff they have, they got about 9,000 staff across 20 regional offices. And to give you an idea of call volume, they take about 220,000 calls per year on their child protection hotline. So as you can imagine, I mean, we're talking about child safety here, so it's absolutely critical that their contact center operations can continue efficiently, function all the time, especially times of those unpredictable disaster situations where call volume spike. It's very important. So that leads me into the challenge that they were having was that they're using an out-of-date phone system that just couldn't accommodate the volume of calls that were being received. This really came to a head when COVID started, as you could imagine. I think that was a catalyst for a lot of companies deciding, hey, we need to change. Because in order to continue to serve the county and again, provide services that provide relief for children and keep them safe, they needed to move everybody remote. They needed to do it fast. I mean, think about it. If you have your entire staff in the office and then one day you say, hey, can't be in the office anymore, well, you know, there's still children and families in need, so they can't afford for you to not service them because you can't be taking calls. So what do? Well, you need to rapidly migrate to your agents and staff being at home, right? So that's part of the solution that we did. We enabled them to be remote. And by the way, one thing I didn't mention is you can see right here, not only did their phone system not accommodate the volume of calls coming in, but they were paying $50,000 a month to maintain this system. I mean, imagine for a second paying 50 grand a month. I don't care what your budget is. That's a lot of money to pay for a system that's not working for you, right? So we came in. The solution that we provided was a custom control panel with Amazon Connect that incorporated some advanced integrations, custom queues, and real-time reporting. And like I said, it enabled a remote setup for their agents. And by the way, you know, I think a theme of the day is speed and how fast you can get up and running and start seeing positive outcomes. In a matter of weeks, they were taking hundreds of calls a day, which is absolutely remarkable when you think about, you know, their entire staff was in the office, now they're all at home, and they hardly missed a beat. One reason why they chose Aspen, if I can sum it up, is because of that fast and easy deployment and then our ability to enable some custom applications and integrate with their pre-existing platforms. As you can imagine, government agencies, they have a lot of different platforms, and it's really important for them to data dip and pull data from and integrate from all these different systems that they're using to serve their constituents. And a key point here is that no system downtime, right? I mean, that's incredibly important when you're migrating, and especially if you're doing it fast. You need to keep operations running smoothly. One hiccup, you could end up with a disgruntled customer. Nobody wants that. So it's key that we provided this with no system downtime. And ultimately, what it resulted in was a 40% overall process improvement, and they saved $20,000 a month just by switching to Connect. That's on top of all the other benefits that they received. And so just to recap, the reason why I chose this story is because it goes beyond just the numbers, and we're talking about a human aspect, a human element. We're helping serve the community, right? We're not just cutting costs and improving our processes, which, I mean, that's incredibly important. I think that's probably the biggest reason why we're all here today. But this is actually making a positive impact in the lives of people in our community, including our kids, which I'm sure many of us have children, and so it's incredibly important, right? And I think it's a really phenomenal testament to the capabilities of Connect, again, just beyond the standard KPI metrics that we typically look at. So with that, I will turn it over to Adrian and Lori to come up and talk about Central Pacific Bank's Amazon Connect.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan.
Yes, of course.
So thank you guys for being here today. I'm Adrian. I'm from Central Pacific Bank, the technology area. My business partner here, Lori Bettencourt, is our Director of Customer Service Center. And the reason why we're both here together is really to share our journey and the importance, I mean, and I cannot stress this enough, while technology can deliver the platforms, the systems, the services, the success of your journey has to include the business, the relationship, the strong relationship with your business owner. And that's why I needed Lori to be here today, because I can talk about how we got here, right? So our journey began with True. With True, I had the privilege, I was approached by the committee at the time to say, hey, we have this use case of AI for call center. And I thought, really? I'm not even a customer service agent, right? I'm probably the worst one to pick because I'm always complaining about customer service call centers, right? And so they said, well, then you're the perfect one, right? I said, okay. So through True, I had the privilege of bringing in, or of actually reading the use case in terms of how can we tech enable our local businesses with call center. How can we help solve that call center and customer experience problem for businesses in Hawaii? So in 2019, in early 2019, my first True initiative, my first True committee meeting, and presented the plan. Like Will talked about, Aspen engaged college students, the local colleges, in the initiative, in their journey. We did the same. We reached out to the different local universities here in Hawaii, Chaminade, the community colleges, Hawaii Pacific University. We asked for college students. I literally had one summer to come up with who are we going to partner with in this journey. And so you can imagine, so we got 5 university students in, all different backgrounds. One was studying Japanese, one was a marketing person, one was finance, one was liberal arts, all different focuses in their study programs. I'm gonna tell you, it was an interesting experience because when I brought them in, I explained to them what our mission, what our goal was for the summer, they said, what is a call center? And I'm gonna tell you, they were mortified because they said, what? We're gonna do what? What is that? So I had to literally explain to them, when you call to talk to somebody about support, they're like, we don't do that, we solve it on our own. I don't talk to a person. And I said, okay, so I had to take them down and look to Lori's group, and I actually had to have them listen in and shadow agents to understand the problem we were trying to solve. And I can tell you, after the first day, their face was mortified. They were like, we literally have people answering phone calls. Why? Right? And so, and then as they started to go through the 2-week journey, they said, hey, there's so many things that we can do. But what that did, it sparked a lot of ideas for them. One, they knew all the big tech companies. They knew, who they wanted to call. They knew who they wanted to talk to. What the 2 weeks did was it allowed them to gather enough information on what problems they were trying to solve, who and what questions to ask these companies. So that's where we started from. We literally did it over a summer. At the end, they talked to Apple, they talked to Google, they talked to NICE, they talked to Zendesk, they talked to Cisco, they talked to everyone. And they talked to AWS, obviously. AWS, believe it or not, was the only one that came back, and I will tell you why they chose AWS was because all they heard was free. And I said, wait a minute. I said, I cannot go back and say we're selected because they're free. They go, well, that's what we're going to tell them. We're going to tell the True Committee Board it's free. And I'm going to tell you that's what we did. We said, you know what, we're choosing them because they're free. They said, what about features? What about functions? We don't care, it's free. Right? You need a solution, we have to deliver, they're free, and they're college students, they're on a budget, they know what money is. They're like, I'm not going to pay for anything that's not free. We took a risk, CPB adopted it, we went with AWS. And I'm going to tell you, part of that journey was Aspen with AWS in 2019. Fast forward 4 years, we're with AWS and we're at Aspen again. In partnership, we held a boot camp here. We had quite a bit of local companies that came and joined. And in that 2-day boot camp, which Aspen sponsored, the businesses that started in that boot camp joined us for those 2 days. By the time they left, they built their own call flows. Many of them today are still using it. It's that easy. It is that easy. So, we're here today to talk about our journey. When we started, we brought it up in 5 minutes. My help desk team, and what we did was we brought it up internally with our service desk, with those call center like teams that service internal employees. That's where we started our deployment. We brought it up in 5 minutes. Of course, this IT service just reported to me. Before we brought it up, they were on our Cisco platform. 15 minutes later, they were on Amazon Connect. And they loved it. Our journey started there, we started to grow, we started to bring in more. The training was almost zero. So when we talk about low cost of entry, zero to low cost of entry, zero to low cost of exit, we really mean that. And we're happy to continue to talk stories with people about our journey, about our experience, but it is true. Everything that you guys are hearing today is true. So ours was, it was cost savings, it was innovation. Cost savings, trust me, was not at the top of our list, right? It was about innovation. It was about, to dance, and Will's point, the art of the possible, right? It was about reimagining the customer experience for our customers. It was about augmenting Lori's team with technology and machine learning so that the repetitive transactions could be handled easily through a machine so that they can focus on the higher value customers, right? Delivering that high touch customer experience. I can tell you that, someone mentioned, I can't remember who talked about, think big, start small. I cannot express that any more than it's already has been. That's where we're at. We started in 2019 just with our internal service desk and customer service areas. Last year in August, we launched our external customer service contact center. And so Lori's going to share about that. We were on Cisco. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Cisco UCCX platform. That's what we were on. Our cost for that system was about $370,000 a year. Today, we are about less than a third of that cost. So when we talk about cost saving, and that was just an additional bonus to our project. We didn't realize it was going to be that much cost saving. In fact, we didn't even start off. We said we don't know. We believe we're going to have some cost savings. We didn't know it was going to be that much. Right? So it's true. Everything that everyone's talked about today is true. We're living proof of it. We are willing to share. We're here today. We may be from Central Pacific Bank Financial Services, but we're here as another local business, as another partner. We're here to help and answer questions from any one of you that may be thinking about the journey, may be thinking, is this the right solution? Is this real? We're happy to share. Okay, so please ask us questions. We're excited about the product. Lori's going to tell you about the features that we've been able, and we've just scratched the surface. We just got on in August 31st, so we're still, for her team, it's still brand new, but I tell you, we're excited. Activating features and functions is very easy. It is a flip of a switch. Lori will share some of that with you, but try it. If you have the opportunity, try it. I really encourage you to try it. Aspen is our integrator of choice. We've had great experiences with them. They've been on our journey from the beginning. They're still on our journey today. As Will and Dan said, it's the art of the possible. It's the art of the possible. So.
Yeah. So I oversee the call center. So it was actually very interesting for me when we migrated over to AWS, because when we were on the Cisco platform, I had very little capabilities to do anything, right? From an administrative standpoint. With AWS, that all changed, right? So as a business user, I feel very much empowered to do what I feel is best for my contact center, which has been very good for us. But we, to Adrian's point, we started in August of last year. And we did this, and we had that same approach, right? For my contact center, we're gonna think big. So even from the very beginning, we thought about what would phase 1 look like? What would phase 2, 3, and beyond look like? So we didn't just stop here. We really looked at, where do we wanna be at CPB? So, but we did start small, right? So we had to get off of Cisco because it was a legacy system. It was end of life. and I needed to replace it. So because we had already started with our internal offices, naturally that profession would be to bring it to us. So we migrated over, but we didn't do a like-for-like system, right? So Randy mentioned that earlier. We wanted to provide some enhancements to not just our team, which was super important, but it was also to our customers, right? So we added these just kind of low-hanging fruits. So we had two-factor authentication that we implemented. We actually, you don't have the screenshot, but we're actually able to now keep our agents really confined in the AWS platform. So they're not having to search in different areas, go to Outlook to look up something, go to another place and kind of Google something. It's all within the platform, which has made it very easy for them. Even things like sending a text message to a customer, right? We have frequently used forms on our website. Well, now that's very easy for our agents to text message that out to a customer while they've got them on the phone, and they can walk them through what that form looks like, how to complete it, and so forth. So we've really looked at how do we make it better for our customers and our agents as well. And I can tell you that migration over to AWS is a really big lift for our team. They're super happy with it. I can't remember who was talking about it, but there was some talk about maybe there could be latency issues. I can assure you from a business owner standpoint, I don't see that. Right, so from a stability standpoint, I think you guys, if you do move forward, you guys are in good hands with AWS. We've got so much things. I mean, Adrian said we scratched the surface, which is just, it's true, right? Our conversion, just to let you guys know, we converted our whole call center from the kickoff meeting to our actual conversion date. It was a 90-day process. So the call flows were built, we went through UAT, we did training, and we rolled everything out, and that all happened within 90 days. There was zero impact to customers, so no downtime, right? We were able to continue to move forward, and I can tell you guys, day one, Nick, you were there, it was like it didn't happen. It was the craziest thing ever. I don't know how many of you guys have done projects, but usually there's some kind of hiccup or some kind of glitch. It didn't happen. Right, so on day one, the biggest issue was the equipment we gave to our team. So figuring out, how do I use this new wireless headset? I mean, that was the big deal, was the headset, right? And we were doing custom reports on day one, where normally you're troubleshooting and trying to figure out what the heck went wrong, but that didn't happen for us. So, I think our collaboration made it very good. We had a lot of support from AWS and the team, and I think it's, for me, been great because the things that they demonstrated, it's so easy to apply. So I can tell you guys, I have zero technology experience, but I'm actually able to build the call flows myself. We're now we're bringing on our international banking department, and we're creating call flows for them, right? They're in UAT right now. They're actually going to go live on AWS next month. So they're going to be moving from their platform over. So it's very easy, and I think that's what I enjoy about it so much, is I do feel very empowered, right? And that I can learn to do it. But even the screen recordings, right, that just got launched over the weekend, and we sat together, Adrian and I, on Tuesday. I think in a couple of minutes, we had it up and running, right? It is literally so simplistic. Clicking the buttons is really what it is. So I think as long as you can partner with, if you guys are IT folks, partner with your business units, and I think you can deliver a really good platform that's easy to use for the agents and the customers. But we found great success with being on the platform. From a department standpoint, I've seen a reduction in handle time. Of course, our agents are a lot happier because they're working a lot more efficiently, doing their job. So, I continue to see a lot of things that I'd like to do for my team. And again, we just got through phase one, but we're already looking to see when we can start phase two, because we're just that excited. So if you haven't signed up, I would recommend you guys do it now, because it is a great system.
I think, one of the other things that I just want to point out for Lori's team is the ability now for us to have remote agents.
Oh, yes.
Right, on Cisco, that was a challenge for us. That was a challenge. Today, we can, at a moment's notice, something happens, we lose power in one office, say, fine, take your equipment, go home, work remote. Zero impact. Right? So the languages, just the ability to be able to use different languages, you can use different voices, male, female, there's different options you can choose from, the natural language capability. One thing I do want to share is AWS does an amazing job with documentation. We talked about, turning on the screen recording. Nick shot us through, tagged us in a LinkedIn, said, hey, this feature is now available. I opened up the console, searched on screen recording. You bring up the documentation, we followed it step by step by step. 5 minutes. And they do that for all of their features, their functions. You can search anything in the AWS console. Questions about integration, APIs. There's so many out there. Right, Salesforce, ServiceNow, there is so much capability to integrate. Everything is right there within the Amazon Connect library, but the documentation is amazing. And it empowers you to be able to support your own platform. Not everything, you probably got to decide, where's your priorities, where do you want to spend your time. But maybe the easier stuff, and then the more complex things with your integration partner. And then the other thing is that through this journey, Lori talked about not being a technical person. But another benefit that you get is the ability to upskill your own people, whether they're in technology or they're not. That's another benefit that the platform brings, because anyone is able to learn. Right, it is that easy. I cannot stress, I gotta take that. It's free, jump on it, try it out. We're not kidding, right?
So the documentation is really good, but I'm not gonna lie, I had to watch YouTube videos
Yes.
to figure out how am I gonna send a call to an email so that voice messages can be retrieved.
Yep.
YouTube is amazing. It walked me through the simple email service and how to set it up. There was a little Python part that I was like, ooh. But it teaches you how to do some Lambda, and it's actually very useful. So if somebody like me can do it, I promise you guys can do it.
I can tell you the screen recording, talk about cost savings. Nick tagged us in that LinkedIn notice, and we were just coming up to where we had to make a decision whether we were going to go with another application for screen recording. That was going to be almost a $70,000 investment. And just from that notification from Nick that we read up, we just saved $70,000. It is a pay-per-use, right? But you only pay for what you use as opposed to paying for this whole thing, which you will probably not use most of the features. Right? So again, I gotta say, try it. But it was a game changer for the bank. We're glad we made the decision. We're happy with where we are today, and we've only scratched the surface. We are nowhere close to accomplishing what we want to, our business outcomes. We want to get to that omni-channel experience. We're already on that journey. But we jumped in, went head in, and we're very happy with it.
And what they demoed today was really the out-of-the-box solution. So if any of you guys are interested, we had our own our system, our CCP set up for us. So it's all customizable. If you guys want to see it, I'm more than willing to kind of show it to you guys if you have any interest in that. But there's just a lot of things that can be done with the platform.
Yeah. Questions?
You mentioned earlier about your international banking.
Yes.
Is that capable to take care of the international language, such as Japanese, Chinese, Korean?
Absolutely, absolutely. The first one that we're bringing on is our Japanese call center. And I can tell you that, and Laura will tell you more, in our Cisco world, and even today before we even bring them on, Lori actually has 1 or 2 agents that speak Japanese today. So what happens is, because our Japanese team is not on the platform, when those calls come in, she has to route them to, she has only 2 agents that can help take calls. When we bring on this Japanese call center, they're in UAT testing today, we'll bring on that entire team onto the platform. We've just grown our agent capabilities to service our Japanese customer, all in Japanese. All in Japanese. Our greatest challenge in doing this, bringing them on, is we don't speak Japanese. So, we're listening to the recording, we're like, what did it say? We're trying to test, we're like, did it tell us to leave a message now? But yeah, it's just been such an easy journey bringing the group on. And we're looking forward to it. They're very happy. They're in UAT testing. They're very happy. But yes, all in Japanese language.
Do you have any problem with firewall? Because I'm sure the bank have very strong firewall. So will that be interfere with the communication?
Absolutely. Not so much with the community, but partner with your cybersecurity team, with your technology group. Make sure that everyone understands what you're trying to accomplish, what that business outcome, that expected business outcome is, because all of them are important pieces in the puzzle. Everyone has to be on the same page on what you're trying to accomplish. We worked closely with, well, I'm in the technology group, but my cybersecurity team worked closely on the project as well. But yes, you gotta make sure your firewalls are configured the way you need it. Make sure that you are adhering to your cybersecurity policy, because security is the most critical, right? But partner with them, make sure everyone understands their goals, make sure you have the right people on the team. You should be okay. But yes. Yeah.
So I got here a little bit late. Who's Aspen and compared to AWS?
So Aspen,
Yeah.
Will King, and Malcolm.
Name's Will McCain. We're a partner of AWS, so we integrate and help customers migrate into AWS environments and various different workloads. So we're the kind of the muscle behind the setting up environments, the development work, the API creation, some of the network concerns you talked about as well, and then the consulting on the customer experience journey side of the house. So
What was the URL?
Aspen, it's aspen.com. But I'll leave some cards up at the front there, and I'm more than happy to come over and talk with you more about it. We're made up of ex-AWS people ourselves. I used to be an Amazon leader over the Connect public sector business. Then my partner used to be the former solution architect leader at AWS for Amazon Connect. We've got some DevOps leaders from AWS as well. So we still very much feel like we're part of the AWS family and show up and do events like this and everything like that. But it's more on the partner and integrator side of the house nowadays.
And just a little bit more about Aspen. When they partner with you, it is not partnering with you so that they can maintain the code and then you're tied to them. Our experience with Aspen is that they also take you through the journey of learning how to maintain what we're doing, what they're doing, and how to maintain your platform, right? It's not about kiddie group. They don't run off, develop all this stuff and say, here it is. They actually take you through what they're doing. And that's special because you don't get a lot of integrators that are willing to do that. Right? So that was important for us. That was genuinely important for us. Other questions?
How many of you know more about contact center than you ever thought coming out of this today? Anybody have any idea how big a scale the AWS contact centers were?
How many of you are excited to get started? All right.
So I was actually going to say, if it makes sense, we'd be happy to offer maybe a virtual session with teams if you wanted to get started. We could bring maybe the teams together in small groups or pods, and we could help guide you through creation and setup. And probably send over some documentation prior so just to get prepared, but even just to get it up and running and start taking some calls. A lot of our customers tend to start internally with IT workloads because they're safe, they're non-customer facing. So they might start with an IT support help desk line. You also have the benefit that your IT support staff is generally technically savvy, and so they have the ability to pick up new technologies rapidly and get the feedback you need about the environment. So it's a safe place to start. Generally low cost or no cost in some cases. But we can help get you started on that journey too, if that makes sense. So I'll take the action to send out a note,
Absolutely.
Leilani, through you with the rest of the team in terms if you want to get started virtually with your next steps. And then I think we're planning on coming out back in August again for a joint event as well. And we can set up some meetings with organizations that are around it or talking between there as well.
Leilani?
Did anybody happen to write any questions on Post-it notes or anything like that?
You take,
Oh, really?
you take 30 seconds if people want to write down something on a Post-it note, and then we'll collect those, and then we'll do some contest questions. How about that? Do that?
In the meantime, Leilani, you want to talk about the August
Yeah, sure.
summit?
Yes.
We've been talking about it, so we may as well, yeah.
So the next
Questions?
big event is the Hawaii Cloud Innovation Summit. So this is the second year in a row. It's going to be at the Convention Center, August 1st, and it's an all-day conference. We've got keynote speakers, and then we have 3 tracks in the afternoon, breakout sessions. So we've got the business track, the technical track, and the workforce development track. As mentioned, we'll probably have another more in-depth session delving into the data analytics portion of how the call center can be used. So that'll be a session that you can look for. But the great thing is it's complimentary, so there's no charge to attend. And you can register. If you look on Eventbrite, you should be able to find it under Hawaii Cloud Innovation Summit 2023. So get on there and register. It's completely free. Have yourselves, your team, your department attend with you, and just take it as a day of learning and networking. So we'll have hosted lunch as well, like you saw today, and also a Kalman and networking session. So plenty of opportunity to network. We'll also have some vendors, exhibitors on site as well. So should be a really, really good day, August 1st.
Cool. Okay. Anybody write some questions down? You pass them to the end of the table?
The best questions get prizes. So that's
Yeah.
we should have said that.
Got one. Make sure you write your name on it. Actually, you don't have to write your name, Nick. All right. So we're back here now. All right. Thinking of a good question. All right. Will, you want to come on up? And, all right. I think anyone can answer this. Adrian, Lori, you guys can come up too. Great, if you guys can all.
Who we got?
A few. I got a couple more here.
What's your favorite football team? I am a Cowboys fan.
Here are the questions here. Okay. We'll take a look at this. Which one's for you? You.
Well, someone already take this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so somebody had a question, what is CPB's next phase? And for phase 2, we're really looking at adding some of the features that they shared earlier, but I'd like to get wisdom installed, right? I want to make it even easier for our agents, so that's a really big one for us. It's about that employee experience, and we really want to try to raise the bar and make it easier for them. We're looking at doing some other things. Right now, we have a voice of the customer survey at the end of all our calls. That was built within AWS, but we are looking to migrate that over to Medallia. So enterprise-wide, we have one voice of the customer platform. So that's also on our list to do this year, or with phase 2. And then Adrian mentioned, we have a bunch of other internal departments that are currently on the platform, or the one instance, we're looking at moving them over to be on the custom platform that we built for My Contact Center. So there's a lot of small things that we need to do within CPB to get us all into one platform, and that's gonna be kind of one of the main focuses for us, is to bring everybody over, so we're all using the same technology and we can all benefit from each other and be able to support one another. And I think what's great is that, you know, Adrian kind of mentioned this earlier with our Japan hotline, or Japan, our international banking department. We can now support each other, right? If we're on the same platform, we can create profiles that allow us to support the different areas within our organization. So now we've really expanded the outreach to our customers. So I think the more we can pull people onto the platform, the better we will be as an organization. Yeah, but there's tons of other things that we want to do, but we gotta do baby steps. We gotta get everybody on the platform.
All right, there's a question here. Is the Olelo Hawaii supported on Amazon Connect? I'm not actually familiar with what.
Olelo Hawaii, are they? Yes. Did we come up with the Hawaiian language yet in Amazon Connect?
I don't think we have that.
Not yet, right?
No. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Oh, from dialect standpoint. There are a number of languages supported, and I don't believe that one is on there. So that actually is the first time I've seen that request, but we can certainly make that request. I'm curious to see how many other requests have been made. It actually does get me thinking about maybe sharing with you just like how can customers impact Amazon Connect? And it's actually pretty incredible. It's the first, I've worked with some big tech companies before. This is the first one where I see such an active engagement with our product management team. You may remember this from your days. But we really build the product based on customer feedback. I think 80% of the roadmap is driven by you. So if you were to ask Pasquale DeMaio, who's the general manager of Amazon Connect, and you said, hey, what's on your roadmap for the next 2 years, 3 years, he's going to tell you, I don't know. He's not going to say it like that. But he'll say, like, we definitely have a roadmap for the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. But their sprint methodology affords them the ability to say, hey, like, if customers are saying such and such, like this capability is super important and we just get a flood of those calls, say like in ChatGPT, for example, like we have the opportunity to take that input and prioritize that, pivot quickly to develop and deliver what customers actually want. Not what some engineer says, hey, this would be really cool, let's go build that for like 18 months out. No, like let's deliver what customers are actually asking for to drive the business. So if this language is going to help, check that out. Come on, you want to address the next question?
Yeah. So the next question was, can the call center system support booking and registration systems? The answer is yes, absolutely. Both in voice chat, as well as potentially text message or other third-party language systems. So you can have Lex do that in both a spoken or text version, interact with you, gather callers or chatters information, guide them through registration process. They can also complete financial transactions. So it can gather money, you can do outbound call campaigns in order to get people to pay things. But any sort of transaction you can basically think of, if we can touch the API of the other platform that it's integrating with, and in large part we have a lot of experience integrating in the fintech space or third-party CRM applications. If it's got an API we can touch. If your application is legacy and it's on-prem and you need help creating an API gateway in order to get it to the cloud, that's something we can help you with too, actually, in terms of creating an API gateway to allow Amazon to connect with your on-premise system.
Yeah, thanks. Well, just touched on it. One of the great things about really all Amazon services, AWS services, is they are very much API driven. And so for the non-technical people, this ability to control the application of those services through programming languages. If it doesn't do something that you want it to do, say, out of the box, maybe you're doing something custom or you're integrating it into a different application. Hopefully we're providing you all of the easy radio dial buttons and slider bars to just make it as simple to click and drag as possible. And we also know that, and want to enable our customers to, hey, if you see other really cool, innovative ways to make it what you want, give them the ability to do that. So through those kinds of API and programming interfaces. So really good question. There's another one here. What government agencies in Hawaii do you have a relationship with? Can you share how it has affected the something? How has it affected something? I'm sorry, I can't read that one. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we have specific. I know Hawaii, we actually kind of keep customer information pretty quiet unless they've already raised their hand to be a public reference, like security and public information is really important for us at Amazon, so I'm probably not at liberty to share who's using that or not unless they are a public reference, so I apologize for that, but just again, want to protect customer information. If you
I'm happy to talk one-on-one with whoever may have asked that question in terms of what state, local governments are doing, as well as federal agencies, not just the United States, but Canada, Australia, the UK, Germany, etc. I used to run the public sector business at AWS for Contact Center, and today we support a number of state customers. State of California is a big one. State of Florida is starting to become one for us today, but we've got a number of different state agencies as well. It's really interesting in terms of citizen engagement, how all of us take advantage or use government services, how we engage with them, and so that's there's a lot of different interesting things coming out of that. There's even summits about this on this specific topic. We just got one out of Washington D.C., AWS. And a number of customers talking about Connect use cases in the public sector. Yeah. DMP's public.
State of California, DMP.
Dan went over LA County. We do a lot of work in LA County. State of Colorado. So most of this is theoretically public because it's public dollars, but in terms of whether they'll get up and they're allowed to actually, back up brand name, there's some.
They have to be somewhat vendor neutral.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Good question. Yeah. Sorry.
So actually, Alan Wood, AWS account manager for state local education. Yeah. So actually, if you were to go on city and county customer service division, or DMV here, for Honolulu, they actually have a phase 1 of something very similar to Amazon Connect. They're using chatbot for AWS. Yeah. Which is very, very similar foundation, right? So the next phase will be integrating the voice piece to it. So stay tuned for that. And also we have a child support enforcement agency that has built one up within a 3-hour workshop. They're just waiting for it to go live. Yeah. It's pretty simple.
And the last question here is, besides being free, what are the main differences between AWS, Amazon Connect, and the other platforms that are available to you? Boy, that's a big question. I say at a high level, obviously you have sort of cloud providers and then on-premise providers. So with the benefit of using cloud, there are many benefits. Obviously, you get the size and scale of cloud. You get a lot of the security capabilities that come with AWS. So the resiliency, the redundancy that comes with the AWS infrastructure. Often companies struggle to have like a DR or business continuity plan be backed by the kind of triple resiliency that we have in the AWS infrastructure. For customers who are trying to replicate that, it can be quite costly, very expensive. I would say from a functionality-wise, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, if anyone remembers, the 3 things I pointed out I hear most from customers. That second one was, it's at least an hour ago, I know it's a long time ago. Second one was like innovation, right? AI and ML capabilities. I hear that a lot as being a differentiator from our customers who are evaluating Amazon Connect. I spoke with she was the administrator from one of our competitors, probably from our market share, like one of the biggest. And she said when she was trying out this capability that we have that Will showed, how you could turn on a machine learning capability that is collecting call transcript information real time, inspecting that and generating like, hey, how well is that call going? That can then inform people, hey, how well did the agents do? Are there areas to improve that call quality experience? She said with her old product, that would have taken probably 6 to 8 months to go configure that, like have to bring in coders, programmers, all that kind of, and literally she's like, I can't believe that was a turn on the button radio dial. She's like, that just blew my mind. I can't imagine like that happened. And she says that's in addition to like, just having to go and then once we did it, we would have had to license it. Whereas here, I just try it, turn it on, play with it. Hey, we liked it. We're going to keep it on. I can determine it. So I think that's a big part of it. It's just that ability to bring the innovation home to you all so that you can try that. I mean, the cost differences aside, the ability to do the radio buttons, try this out, particularly around like the machine learning and really advanced technologies. We're bringing that size and scale. I heard one customer say this is like, they weren't very big, but they're like, hey, you're giving me the size and scale of like Amazon customer service, right? 117,000 agents to my small business. You're giving me all of that capability, and I have it at my fingertips. I think that's one of the big differences.
If I could add to what Randy's sharing, for us, aside from free, what it brought for us was that we were able to downsize our technology portfolio. So just by switching to Amazon Connect, when we were in Cisco, we had 6 different platforms just to do our call center delivery. Once we switched, we eliminated 5. And so, you know, that's huge, right? So it's simplifying your technology portfolio. That was a huge benefit for us, aside from cost saving.
From an industry standpoint, I mean, it was disruptive. AWS has been disruptive. It's already disrupted the entire technology marketplace. It was a book company, right? And if you read Amazon's leadership principles, and they might align to your own credo or your company's credo, customer obsession is everything. So they didn't have telcos to keep happy. They didn't have third-party licensors to keep happy. They literally built their own contact center stack as well as the rest of the cloud technology because they needed it because they weren't getting it from the marketplace. So not only is it cloud native, but it was built from a customer standpoint, the entire product set versus a technology company that's just trying to maintain warranty services contracts, but not actually provide any sort of value. So if you ever want to get really deep into this, the consumption economics of the AWS use case and all its products and services and the way it's created, basically is let's charge for value and not anything else. If we're not creating value, we shouldn't charge for it. That's not the same with other tech companies and traditional tech companies. And as we've seen, it's been highly disruptive, and everybody else is now trying to figure out what's our cloud model.
Yeah, there's someone on my team, he came from Cisco, was at Aspen, was at a Genesis, did the same, and so he's come and join our Connect team. And when he gets asked, hey, what's different about AWS and Connect, he says everything's different. Our whole consumption model, ability to have a lot of capabilities all under one service, where they have to do, you license an ACD, you license a chat service, you license WFM, then you license a recording tool. Now you can have it from one, simplifying it. So just everything is different.
And it's just one more, I can go on and on, by the way, but
Yeah.
another big point about the difference with AWS is business continuity and disaster recovery. That was another huge headache for us that AWS solved. So again, I'm here if anybody wants to talk story, but so many benefits from a business side.
Yes. We're gonna, go.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So, if we want to get in contact with you after this, are you guys going to share your contact information?
We will. In fact, I'll write mine on the wall, I guess, as well. And I do have some cards here, which I haven't used in 4 years, but I'm happy to hand them out. We said we give away a prize. We're going to do that before we let you go. I'm going to ask you to come up as our speaker, like pick a question.
You had one too, I think.
And I think you had a question too, or do you want to pick one? Or we can pick one out of the hat if you don't want to. Pick one out. Okay, here, we're going to do this. All right, here we go.
My ask too is make sure you take those mugs on your way out because I'm not taking them
Five.
back.
Actually, no, I'm going to ask for a volunteer really quick.
Okay, got it.
I need a number 1 through 5. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, who said besides being free, what are the main differences between who else said? You can write your email on here, and then you will be sent AWS gift.
I can also, I have everyone's emails.